Greetings and salutations, one and all, to another fun-filled episode of the Super Review Show's Mixed Bag, coming to you live once again from many caves. As always, I'm joined by the incredible Starfield panel of panelists, Bill and Justin. What's going on, guys?
Good evening, folks.
What's going on?
So glad you guys have you guys back here once again. So, as the title of our podcast suggests, alludes to whatever. Last week we started our movies through the decades because we're on the road to 200 episodes of Mixed Bag. So that being said, um, we are currently so we did the 60s and the 70s combined last week, and that was almost 3 hours. So tonight we're entering a decade that is quite fun and really, really exciting that we're going to talk about tonight, which was the 1980s. Some of the best movies of all time came out of this decade, and we're going to just get right into it, shall we? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's where we're ready.
So, Justin, what happened in the 80s, like filmmaker wise? Was it like a different?
Greetings and
In the 80s, well, the movie that finally sealed the deal happened in 1980. And I'm going to talk about that later.
Mm,
But this was the end of the new Hollywood movement. So, new Hollywood was more modestly budgeted, filmmaker driven, contemporary films. Not these lavish studio productions of old. Then came Jaws. Then came Star Wars. Then came Superman. These blockbusters. Quite the literal sense there. Blockbuster. They were lining around the block to see these flicks. This was the beginning of the birth of the multiplex. You know, oftentimes a movie theater was just one theater, showed one movie. Now you have these giant multiplexes that have like 10 plus theaters in one building. Um, and 1980 happened. And well, there's a film in 1980 that was such a spectacular failure that it pretty much permanently took the power away from the filmmakers and back to the studios. I will get to that movie later. But let's go on to a more cheery movie. Um, let's talk about Star Wars, guys.
the movie with one of the biggest plot twists in all of cinema.
Yep.
Empire Strikes Back.
We're actually talking about sequels in this decade.
Okay, to be fair, Bill, the sequels that happened in the 80s, they were very consequential.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you why I'm getting on my soapbox, because last week these guys wouldn't let me talk about Godfather 2, which is one of the best sequels that is better, which some people consider is better than the first one. But what do you mean the sequels from the 80s are more consequential?
I'll touch a bit more about that in 1984, but with Empire, like JT said, this is one of the most groundbreaking plot twists in cinematic history. Like this is psycho level importance. Yes, Godfather Part 2 was the first sequel to win an Oscar, to win Best Picture. Um, with Star Wars, we're talking about this phenomenon that just recontextualizes everything you knew about the characters before and leaves you on such a sour note in the end, where all hope seems lost. Han is presumably dead. Um, Luke had his hand chopped off. And now the Empire basically won.
It's one of those few movies where the bad guy wins.
And now Luke has this knowledge that Darth Vader, the most intimidating villain, again, in cinematic history, is his father. Now, this movie's been parodied to death with this twist, so it might not be such a groundbreaking twist nowadays, but back then, nobody saw this coming. Nobody. Um, this was the movie that George Lucas quit the WGA, DGA, and Motion Picture Association over. See, back then, you were not allowed to not include the credits in the beginning, like actor credits, director's credits,
How
all
come?
that. Um, Union rules. That was just union rules. And George Lucas was like, no, it ruins the flow of my intro. I'm not going to do it. Now, they allowed that for the first movie because George Lucas was the director, producer, writer, and his name was technically included in the Lucasfilm logo. But
Okay.
he did not direct Empire, nor Jedi. So he was fined like $250,000, and they all tried to block the movie from being released altogether. But they didn't have legal standing for that because it was in London, filmed and produced in London. So they fined Irving Kershner instead $25,000, which George Lucas paid. He was so mad that he quit all those guilds, and it's probably why he didn't direct that many movies besides Star Wars, to be honest.
And what you were saying about the plot with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Did you see, like, last week, as we mentioned last week, James Earl Jones passed away? Did you
Mhm.
see Mark Hamill's X? No, I'm calling it what it is. Twitter. Screw you, Elon. Um,
Thank you.
what was that, Justin?
I said thank you.
Yes, that is a hill I'm willing to die on. But did you see that Mark Hamill posted on Twitter?
I
Yes,
didn't.
he's
I'm not on Twitter nowadays.
but he put as a tribute to James. And actually, I'm not really on Twitter. A friend of mine told me about it. He
Mm.
put R.I.P. Dad.
Oh,
Put rest in peace, Dad. So nice tribute to Mark from Mark Hamill. Um. So anyway, so what you're saying, WGA, and they actually got into a fight with
yeah.
George Lucas.
Hmm.
Wow.
George Lucas won, and and but he was so mad about the experience that yeah, he just quit.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So, but yeah, like I said, we're kicking off the show tonight with The Empire Strikes Back, one of the most significant films that really started off the decade of blockbuster films. One of them for sure. So,
Oh, absolutely. And let's
Oh,
not
this
forget, um, I'm sorry, Billy, you go ahead.
no, go right ahead.
Let's not forget, when it first came out, people were a little confused when they saw episode 5,
yep.
but that was just showing everyone what his plan was. You see, George Lucas had a 9-part film series in mind, and he was filming the middle part first.
I knew
Now
that.
we ne now we never got to see his sequel trilogy. We instead got the Disney one, but we did see his prequels.
Ugh.
Let's never talk about those again. We
That's next week slash the following week.
yeah, we talked about those at one point. Ay, ay, ay.
Well, anyway,
But yeah, one of the greatest movies of all time came out in
yes.
1980.
Yeah, one of the best sequels of all time.
And Bill, I will concede that you should have had a little time to talk about Godfather Part 2.
Thank you. But yeah, but anyway, yeah, so Empire Strikes Back, starting the decade off strong.
Yep.
Okay, what was the other movies in 1980s that came out?
I
80,
there was two
1980.
there's two more that I thought of for 1980. If you guys want me to talk about one
All
first.
right, let's go. Let's
All
go.
right. One of them is one of my favorite movies of all time to begin with, but Airplane, it's a comedy.
Yes.
This movie is
Surely he can't be serious.
I
I
am
am
serious, and you can't call me and don't call me Shirley.
don't call me Shirley. It is so funny in so many different ways. I love it. It is such a it's a spoof of disaster movies back when spoofs were actually really good. But this is just an iconic movie to begin with. It's just, like, even the poster makes it look great with the tied up airplane. So funny.
Wait a minute. I know you. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, I remember that.
You play basketball for the Los Angeles Lakers. My name is Roger Murdoch. I'm an airline pilot. I think you're the greatest, but my dad thinks you should work harder on defense. And it's so funny.
Calm down. It's gonna be okay. Okay, you're
Now you listen here,
calm
kid.
down the whole
I,
line.
This movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. In my top 10, probably. It's so funny. It makes me laugh myself sick. And like, what kind of plane is it? Oh, it's a big, pretty white plane with curtains in the windows and wheels. It looks like a big Tylenol.
God. The
Iconic.
air is getting thicker.
One name.
And Leon's getting larger.
God.
Johnny was
Oh,
so
this
great.
movie makes me piss my pants laughing.
It's so fun. It's a really, oh my God, one of my, like I said, one of my favorite movies of all time. Just so, and they made us, they made a second. They were supposed to make a third one too. I don't know if you guys ever knew that, but the third one never happened. So that's besides the point, though. Um, it's just so funny. The Otto, the pilot, is just so
Oh my God, the autopilot was so great.
automatic pilot, automatic pilot. Here we go. Can you fly this plane and land it? Surely you can't be serious. I am
I am
serious.
serious, and don't call me
Oh,
Shirley.
really?
Just wanted to say good luck, and remember, we're all counting on you.
I just want to say, and then they land. It's like
Just
I just
want to
want
say good luck, and remember, we're all counting on you.
after they land successfully. So, anyways, Airplane was one of them. And how can we forget about the start of one of the biggest horror movie franchises of all time, Friday the 13th?
Oh, that was in 1980.
That the very first one was 1980. Camp Crystal Lake, everyone. Like the OG one, the original Friday the 13th came out in 1980.
That is true.
Just a fun fact for everyone keeping track at home. Friday the 13th was actually filmed at a Boy Scout camp in New Jersey, and I got to swim in that lake. I
Yeah,
really did.
Was it a crystal lake?
Yeah, it was. The cabins and stuff are still there. Like they're actually where they filmed it, it's still standing and stuff. It was actually kind of cool.
Oh
And
wow.
I have not seen Friday the 13th, but I just know that this movie came out in 1980 with Kevin Bacon.
For those of you keeping score, that is one Kevin Bacon sighting.
One.
There will be a counter.
Don't worry, there will be more.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, I just shed some light on the start of one of the biggest horror franchises of all time with Jason. I mean, and the critic reviews for this were terrible too. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh, awful.
They were
Oh,
like,
they
"This
were?
is stupid." Yeah, the Rotten Tomato score and
But
all that stuff.
JT, you made one slight mistake.
What's
Jason's
that?
not in this movie.
Oh, it's more Jason's
Oh,
mother.
Yeah, it's Jason's mom,
sorry, my bad.
Shame.
Mrs. Voorhees.
Whoops. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but I know it. I know it was released in 1980. So, anyways, I digress. Um, but no, the start of one of the most iconic franchises of all time.
Yes. Jason comes later.
Here's Jason. Actually, oh, that just reminded me.
That was in 1980 as well.
That
uh,
was also in 1980.
that? Thanks for reminding.
Here's Johnny.
I reminded myself, The Shining, which with Jack Nicholson.
It really shows you how a man can just descend into madness.
I saw this for the first time recently, a couple years ago.
Hmm?
Crazy. Kubrick did
Yeah.
a fantastic job.
hmm
I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to bash your brains in.
Poor Shelley Duvall.
Oh yeah.
She did
Well,
deserve better, though.
R.I.P. Shelley Duvall, by the way.
yes.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
She died recently.
Here's Johnny.
So you guys have heard the horror stories horror stories, um, that have come out of this movie, right?
Like which ones?
Of how Kubrick treated Shelley Duvall on set.
Really? How did he treat Shelley Duvall on set?
Horribly. Um, he would demand 127 takes out of her just to mentally exhaust her to the point of hysteria. Her hair was falling out in clumps. He ordered the crew to not feel sympathy for her.
I heard Stanley Kubrick was a real ass.
He was a he was one of those people who would do say anything for his art. And he was a
Anything? No, I'm just kidding.
perfectionist.
And
He
there was
what?
arguments that he may have been on the spectrum.
Possibly.
I feel like he may have been, given the kinds of films he made. If you think about it.
Don't worry, there'll be another one we'll be talking about later tonight.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, I saw that movie a couple years ago, and I'm like, whoa. And it scared the shit out of me in a way.
I wasn't ever scared by this movie, more unnerved.
Okay, that's a better word.
Um, this movie also was also famous for being disavowed by the original author Stephen King because to him the movie just did not represent his original work. Um, I think he mostly took umbrage with Jack's character.
Yeah, he made his own miniseries in like the 90s.
Yeah, it was kind of boring.
Hmm.
Yeah, what you were saying about Shelley Duvall, I just looked this up because in 2016 she talked about it on Dr. Phil,
Hmm.
and Stanley Kubrick's daughter, Vivian. I don't know if that's his daughter or his wife, but she wrote an open letter to Dr. Phil, said, quote, "You're putting Shelley Duvall on show while she is suffering from a pitiable state of ill health. Unquestionably, this is a purely form of lurid and exploitative entertainment. It's apparently cruel. Shelley Duvall was a movie star. Whatever dignity a mere unfortunate creature might have in the world is denied her by your displaying her in this way. I recoil in complete disgust. I hope others." Oh, wait, this sounds like she's kind of supporting Shelley Duvall.
Yes.
Wow, Stanley Kubrick's own daughter, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Was like, yeah, my father was an asshole. But no, I really did like this movie. I really did.
It was really
It
good.
scared the crap out of me. Okay, more unnerved. All right,
Great
what do we got
performance
next?
by Jack Nicholson. Absolutely
Justin,
fantastic.
what was that movie you were talking about in the beginning?
Ha! Yes. So,
I'm gonna regret this.
do you guys remember a movie from the 70s called The Deer Hunter?
I've heard,
Yes.
heard of it. Yeah.
Well, that director made a follow-up film in 1980, and it was called Heaven's Gate.
I've never heard of this movie.
Neither have I.
Now, Heaven's Gate was one of the most expensive flops of its time.
How expensive was it?
I think it was $40 million back in 1980.
$14 million.
40,
40,
40.
40.
Actually, let me look this up. $44 million. And it made 3.5 million. This was a movie that nearly destroyed United Artists as a studio. It definitely took them out of the ring of the big studios because United Artists used to be one of the big ones, like Warner Brothers, Paramount, 20th Century Fox, Disney, Universal. United Artists was in that circle, but
Hmm.
this movie was infamous. And it infamously went over budget because Michael Giacchino's
Score.
insane attention to detail. They would go over, they would not film on a certain day because the landscape wasn't just perfect. Like he was waiting for like the perfect cloud or something like that to get a shot, and it never came, so they didn't shoot anything that day. Um, Allegedly, one of the sets was like 2 inches off, so he ordered the entire thing to be built again. This was the movie that studios were like, you know what? No, we're we're your bosses. We tell you what to do. You're spending our money. We're going to tell you how to spend it. It was a return to that.
Hmm.
Now, eventually, there would be producers that would become like super producers where their names can sell tickets, and studios would trust them to keep the director in line. Um, but that comes a little later down.
All right. Anything else for Heaven's Gate, bud, or no?
Not really. I never saw the film.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I just want to say, I want to thank our viewers as always for tuning in and watching us. So, is Allie, who normally joins us, is actually watching us live right now. She said that The Shining is one of her favorite thriller films. And actually, Travis Mitchell, thank you much for tuning in tonight. Um, how's it going, guys? He's talking about Friday the 13th really quick. He's saying, how's it going, guys? I had my skateboard signed by Ari Lehman, the guy who played Jason as a kid.
Ooh, that's
So,
cool.
Oh
so
wow.
now it says kill for mother on the bottom, which confuses people. Ha ha ha. It's kind of cool. Thanks so much for watching our show. Should we go over 1981?
Sure.
I think there's like there wasn't too many films that year that are like as iconic as these two, but I want to just start off.
Excuse me.
Mm-mm,
Yes, Justin.
mm-mm.
Are you saying Raiders of the Lost Ark isn't iconic?
No, I was saying that that was going to be the first one I was going to talk about, but okay. My favorite movie of all time. My favorite movie
Dun, 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 dun,
of
dun,
all
All
time.
dun,
right, JT, the floor is yours.
My favorite movie of all time is Raiders of the Lost Ark. The very first Indiana Jones movie is my favorite movie of all time. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for raising me on good quality film instead of watching that crap from 2008. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Watch it, Pally.
Just kidding.
Oh, we'll get to that later.
In
We'll
two
get it in a
weeks.
couple weeks. We'll get that in a couple weeks. But yeah, no, but this is you want to talk about adventure. You want to talk about just some of the best. And let's not forget Harrison Ford at the time was still up and coming. I mean, yes, he was in Star Wars, but this was like his next really big role in Hollywood, and he nailed it as Indiana Jones. And he, oh, I don't, I could spend so much time talking about this movie, believe it or not, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But yeah, just an iconic, like, and Spielberg. This was one of the first movies that really cemented like Spielberg and George Lucas's friendship because
Hmm.
Yeah.
Spielberg directed it, but it was the Indiana Jones franchise was George Lucas's idea.
Hmm.
Let's not forget that. So this as it came in 1981, early 80s, and it is a timeless classic. Like this is truly a standalone movie. If you think about it, like even with the sequels that we have and stuff like that for the franchise, this is truly a standalone movie because if you watch it from beginning to end, it could be its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch it from start to finish, you can It's one complete story. And then they made Temple of Doom, which I really like. They made Last Crusade, which is my dad's favorite movie of all time. So, and then they made Crystal. Oh wait. I'm just kidding. Then they made Dial of Destiny. Like there was the whole franchise, books, comic books, you name it, about the whole franchise. But it's George Lucas's imagination that really paid off on this one. And this one is my a pinnacle of movie fandom for me. Just one of my all-time favorite. My all-time favorite movie is right here. We're talking about it tonight. It only took like several months to get to it, but that's okay. You guys have any comments for this at all?
Yeah, the background, the backstory to this is actually very interesting.
Do tell.
When Steven Spielberg was nominated for Jaws in 1975, Justin, you tell me if I'm correct or not.
God,
They asked him, "So what's your next project going to be?" He goes, "I want to do James Bond."
yeah,
And he goes, "You can't do James Bond. The Brits do James Bond." Going, "Okay,
yep,
so I'll do this." Indiana Jones was sort of like a American James Bond.
in a sense,
Because Spielberg wanted to do a James Bond movie.
yes.
And this movie is just absolutely quotable. Snakes. Why did it have to be
They have to be
snakes?
snakes.
And of course, the face. Okay, was anyone else scared but creeped out by the face melting scene when they first saw it?
Oh, terrified. I was 13 when I saw that, and I almost pissed myself.
I was 14 and I almost pissed myself. Yeah, that scene scared the crap out of me when they saw the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The ending of this movie scares the hell out of me too. The very, very ending.
Yes. Oh, when
Like
they put the Ark
when
away.
when Belloc blows up. That's
Uh,
what that's what
oh
almost
yeah,
spoilers. But that's what almost made it rated R.
yes.
This is a this
You
is
have to
a
add the fire.
yeah, he the spirit of, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, shame on you. The spirit of God kind of blows up Belloc for being evil, and he blows up. I mean, there's blood some of those shots, and it's a PG movie because PG-13 didn't exist yet. We talked about that before. We're not going to go into too in depth, but yeah.
we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Well, just remember, JT, there's nothing that Dr. Jones can find that he cannot take away, like death.
Well done, Justin. Well done. Bravo. But yeah, needless to say, this is my favorite movie of all time. Raised well, parents taught me right in school. Yes, go mom and dad for showing me the greatest movie of all time, in my eyes. So, anyways, anything else for Raiders of the Lost Ark, guys?
Oh, great movie, great score.
Great. Oh, iconic.
Dun 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 dun
Thank you,
dun
John
dun
Williams.
Okay,
dun.
so we covered almost all the most iconic John Williams scores by now.
Pretty
Question for
much.
everyone. Favorite John Williams score
Of the 80s or just in general?
in general?
I'm gonna let the J Man go first.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna say I think it's Raiders, the Indiana Jones score.
All right, we got one for Raiders.
All right, Justin, what about you?
Superman.
Oh, that's great too.
Okay. I actually, to me, it's a toss up. I love the Star Wars, of course.
Hmm.
Yes.
I love Raiders. But you know what one I think actually gets overlooked, and it's kind of a heartbreaking one?
What?
Schindler's List's theme. I think it's just somberly gorgeous.
All right, we'll get to that later.
We'll get to
Next
that
week.
next week.
We sure will when
Yeah,
we
but
get
no,
to it.
the theme is John Williams is a genius, and I've told these stories many times here. He just seems like such down to earth dude.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I told you, while he was being honored at Harvard's commencement a couple years ago, and Harvard's a cappella group. They're like, Mr. Williams, we have a little bit of a surprise for you. And they did like all his scores a cappella.
Aw.
And he's sitting there like I thought he'd be sitting there like, oh my God, this is so stupid. But he was just laughing. He thought it was great. And also I talked about this one. There were two kids, I think they were like 10 and 12. Them and their mom flew out to his house and they were playing the Star Wars theme on their trumpet. And he literally walked out to see what was going on. And the mom was like, guys, he's right there. He's right there. They're like, yeah, mom. Was, hi, Mr. Williams. And he came out and said, I had to see what was going on here. Oh, but if I went outside his house, I'd get arrested. Oh, but if they do it, that's charming. But if I do that, that's weird.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. I see your standards, California. I see your standards.
Mm.
Okay, we can go on now.
There's one other movie in 81 that I want to touch on really quick, if that's okay.
All right, what is it?
It's actually one of the first horror movies I've ever actually thoroughly enjoyed. And it's
Okay.
Evil. It's Sam Raimi's first movie. It's Evil Dead. It's 19. I know Justin's not a really horror guy, but this one, Bill, you have to. I think Bill should watch this movie with me at one point.
Okay, so Halloween movie commentary
We will work on that at some
for
point.
that for Evil Dead.
It's there's not too many jump scares. There's a lot of like really creepy, gory stuff going
Would I
on.
need to have a Xanax before I watch this?
Maybe depends on how you're feeling, of course.
Justin, what do you think?
Have you seen this, Justin?
Not this one, but I have seen Evil Dead 2.
Okay, because the Evil Dead franchise, they took it in a very comedic direction, whereas this one was just like a straight up like scary movie, like five college kids go into a house and one comes out alive. Basic premise, but like they unknowingly release like evil forces that possess them, and they have to kill each other. It's very scary. The concept is, and it's crazy. They filmed it in a real life abandoned cabin
That makes it even scarier.
in like Tennessee or whatever in the U.S. I forget. So, but yeah, no, this is a cult classic. I actually got to talk to Bruce Campbell about it at one point.
Yeah, what'd he say?
So they were promoting at the time. They were promoting Ash vs. Evil Dead, the TV show,
Yes.
and how that picked up pace, and they eventually canceled it after 3 seasons. But no, this is it's funny. Everyone kept asking Bruce Campbell. They said, "Hey, Bruce, what they say?" They said, "Hey, you're making all these." He would tell because him and Sam Raimi are good friends. He would always say stuff like, "Yeah, the Spider-Man movies are making $1 billion, but when's the next Evil Dead?" It gained a pretty big cult following, so it's very, very crazy. Just a crazy movie. I think, if I'm not mistaken, my dad said at one point this was his first and last horror movie ever, like ever.
It scared the shite out of him.
I believe so. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus either. I'm just saying generically, I think that he actually was like he saw this movie once and he's like, I'm never going to a horror movie ever again in my life.
Hmm.
So if you're interested in watching something that's gross, terrifying, and quite frankly gory as can be, Evil Dead, highly recommend it. They made
Do it.
and they made 2 sequels, and there's a remake in 2013. There's actually a fourth film too in the franchise.
Ooh.
Evil Dead
Rip
Rise.
that.
It just came out. So we do our show with Google. I'm purposely not showing like certain images of this movie because it's very bloody. There's just gore everywhere. It's a fright fest of a movie. I enjoy it for what
Yeah.
it's worth, but it's if you can't do jump scares and you can do gore, you might actually like, me personally, I can do this one. I can't do like Halloween or Friday the 13th or whatever, or like with jump scare movies. But the gore, I can actually like sit down and be like, it's gross and disgusting, but I can tolerate it. That's just me. So, but yeah.
See, I didn't see this one, but I did see Evil Dead 2, which
So
I
it's one of those.
hear is kind of a retread of Evil Dead 1. So,
Evil Dead 2 is like kind of like a remake of, not a remake necessarily, but just it's a redux of
The
Evil
first
Dead,
one.
of the first one. But
yeah.
they extend the story out and stuff like that too. So it's kind of like that. So yeah, Evil Dead. I had to just touch on that for an 81. Shall we go? Shall we go over to 82, guys?
Yeah, because I can't think of anything else for 81.
There was the only two I could think of.
Ooh, I know for 82. We got to talk about it's another Spielberg film. I think you all know what it is.
Yeah.
Do 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 do
Oh, oh.
do do
Iconic.
do 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 do. Like this E.T. It's wow. I remember
When you think of Spielberg's trademark whimsy, this is the movie.
Wheezy! Oh, you knew that was coming. Just
This is the movie that you think about.
Wheezy! Um. Do 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 do.
It's this is a
I mean,
timeless movie too, right?
the story of a boy and his alien.
And he's hiding in it. It's so cool. It's so cute.
Before we get to Gremlins, it's kind of like an early template for Gremlins now. Like a
Eh,
creature comes. If you think of it like
It's
that for a second.
funny you say that
Yeah, why?
because this started development as a horror movie.
yeah, wasn't
Uh,
E.T. supposed to be evil?
Yeah,
I remember that. In the early draft of the script, they were supposed to do that. That's right.
What made him? What made them make him good?
probably just drafts. Like they just go through different drafts of it and just evolve.
Yeah, and also, and because that is a template for Gremlins. We'll get to Gremlins when we talk about that. But this movie, like I said, and also this is the logo for Amblin.
It is. I mean, how iconic of an image can you get than him flying with the moon as his backdrop?
You can't get any more iconic than that.
And you know what I really love? Like there have been commercials with E.T. and Elliot,
Oh yeah.
like years later when Elliot's all grown up.
Hmm.
Such as the one when E.T. comes home for Christmas.
Hmm.
Oh,
You
He's
guys know
home. He's home.
you guys know something? I actually so in 2022, there was a couple of re-releases from that year. Um 1982 that they released back in theaters. And one of the ones I saw was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. That came out this year too. But we're not going to really touch on that too much. Uh, but uh, but ET was released in theaters, re-released back in theaters, and I think I was the only one in the theater watching the re-release of it.
Really?
It was I'm not going to tell you where we are, but like our local mall had a screening of ET, the extraterrestrial. No, I took my sister. That's right. And we both sat in the theater and we watched ET in theaters, and it really reminded me seeing ET the extraterrestrial re-release in theaters. I've talked about this once before, but Fathom Events, like if you guys ever, if there's a theater near your, is if there's a Regal or an AMC that does a Fathom event near you, and they re-release an older movie in theaters, I highly recommend you do that. Just on a side note, like we did Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan that year, and we did E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and it was just great. Like it was movies like this are meant to be seen on a big screen, and if you can relive what was in the past for a re-release date, go for it. I know, like this year they're re-releasing Back to the Future Part 2 in a couple weeks across the
Oh
U.S.
wow.
So I mean, I recommend you check that out if you can. So it's just, I think I love that kind of stuff. It's just so worth it to me. Like, and seeing ET just on the big screen was just that awesome in general to me. I was
Yeah.
so happy just, and because the score, the everything about it, just seeing it on especially the moon, the shot of the moon was just, I was crying in the theater. I'm like, this is so great. It's amazing. So,
Or come on, come on. Okay, come. Show of hands. Come on, y'all want to act like you're big tough men, but we all know the truth. How many of you do get teary eyed when he goes home? When he goes, E.T. Go home. I'll always be with you, Elliot. And we come on, people. Am I the only one who gets teary eyed during that scene?
no, you're right. I think we, I would, that was definitely me. So,
Justin, am I the only one?
I mean, JT said so.
What about you?
if
Don't come on. Don't you get a little emotional during that?
I said it
I've only seen the movie once.
Yeah, I
once.
remember when we were talking about overrated movies, you thought this movie was overrated. Justin, you've known me for 16 years. You know I have the memory of an elephant.
I mean, let's be honest. The music can make it a little manipulative on the heartstrings.
The power of John Williams.
But that really shows that music, we've had this debate before with Jaws, with the music. What's scarier, what you see or what you hear? And it's sort of the same thing here. What makes it more emotional, what we see or what we hear? Justin,
Fair enough.
what was that?
Fair enough.
Thank you. And thank you. And just with agree with me, you get 10 points on your next test. Hey, not my fault you have to take this class the fourth time, and I'm the only professor here that teaches this class. We're
All
not
right.
really an accredited university.
The University of Bill is not a real university.
But Dr.
What
Headley got his PhD here, so
we talked about, was there any other films that came out in 82? I know we talked about Gandhi. That was for history class.
then did that win Best Picture that year?
I think it did, yeah. We touched on it when we talked about back to school films, so we don't have to go into
Yeah, we won't go into that. Anything else? Well, Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Have you seen this, Bill? I mean, Justin?
I have not actually.
Okay. Neither have I. Bill, have you seen this movie?
Bits and pieces of it. All I know is they're here.
I feel like they might re-release. I feel like they re-released this one too at one point.
I did watch it once when I was a kid, and I had a dream that everything in my house was turned on. I'm thinking, oh my god, our house is haunted.
Nah, terrible.
And this is another Spielberg film.
It shows he can do anything.
Yeah.
How can you not like Steven Spielberg?
Yeah.
Oh, First Blood came out in 1982.
That one we're going to talk about in a second.
Oh, Sly.
Yep.
This
Have-
Good
time
old
he's
Stallone.
what was that?
Said good old Stallone. He's
This
got
This
that
time
Rocky
he's fighting
money.
for his life.
First Blood. This
Dick.
movie was, and everyone thinks of Rambo as like this action movie, like, oh, he's Rambo, whatever. No, but First Blood's a very different movie, guys. First Blood is a very, it's almost a human drama.
Yeah.
What a movie. Yes, good movie.
Great movie.
They drew First Blood.
And if you never read the book First Blood, I've read the book First Blood, like the actual what it's based on. It's a very different. He spoilers for the book. They kill him off, but in the movie they kept him Rambo alive to become like an action star because they knew they had something on their. You know what I mean? So, but this was great. This is a great movie. It really showed that Sly can do things outside of Rocky.
Because this time he's fighting for his life.
Wasn't Rocky? We're not going to talk about it too much, but Rocky 3 came out in 82, right?
Yo,
Rocky 3
Adrian!
did, yeah.
Oh, that's Rocky 2. Sorry.
Rocky, I pity the fool with Mr. T.
He ain't a fool, but I pity the. No, I don't hate him, but he's a fool, and I pity the fool. What do you expect from this fight? What am I expecting? Pain. That is great. It's probably one of my least favorite of the Rocky movies, but I can't hate it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was.
Mr. T. It's freaking Mr. T.
E.T., First Blood, Rocky 3, Star Trek 2.
And Hulk Hogan.
How about Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Hulk Hogan is in Rocky 3. He's kind of walking on thin ice with me right now, but Hulk Hogan.
Did you say Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Justin?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
You're good. You're good. That came out. That was. You're right.
82.
Was it 82?
Yeah.
It was. Wow. This is one of the few movies I have not seen that we're talking about tonight.
I've never seen it.
Justin, you got anything?
Honestly, it's the John Hughes comedy before John Hughes like really blew up.
Swing.
Starred Sean Penn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Phoebe Cates, and well, it's if you were a teen in the 80s, you were seeing this movie, and we all know why you were seeing this movie because of Phoebe Cates. Do any of you know that pool scene with Phoebe Cates where she's coming out of the pool?
Yep. I mean, I know that scene, but yeah.
It's from this movie.
Wow.
From this movie.
There's a scene where one of the teenagers is fantasizing Phoebe Cates coming out of the pool in a bikini and taking off her bathing suit
We keep our show
to
PG-13.
the tune of moving in stereo.
That's funny.
I've never seen it, so
No, I haven't seen this movie. Don't kill me, guys. But
Also, guys, it's Sean Penn playing a stoner.
how can we not like that?
there you go. Anything else for Fast Times? I got one more movie we could talk about for 82 that I think it kind of gets overlooked in general.
What is it?
Have you guys ever heard of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Conan the Barbarian?
Yep, but I've never seen it.
Just once. I saw it once. Incredible. From what I remember, it was just an incredible movie. And Arnold's like it was pre-Terminator Arnold too.
Pre-Terminator?
Yeah, because this Terminator was 84. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
We got a lot for 84.
80, that was a big year for film.
84 was a big year for film, but we'll get to that in a bit.
And give us like 10 more minutes, guys. No, but I just wanted to touch on this. Justin, have you seen Conan the Barbarian?
I have not.
Oh, that hurt my heart. I'm not gonna lie.
I haven't seen it.
He actually sums up. They said, Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women. That is what most men want in life. To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. Good old Conan the Barbarian. Gotta love it. Anyways, I had to shed some light on Conan the Barbarian for a minute there. Because it's Arnold too. He's like jacked Arnold, and he's like, oh, yeah, come on, this is incredible. Anyways, I gotta go. Let's 83, right?
All right.
Yep.
You know with this Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
We'll be brief on this one because it is the lesser one.
Yes, it is the lesser one.
I like it. I think it's a solid trilogy, you know? The Ewoks
I mean, as the end of the story, yeah, it's solid, but did we really need the Ewoks?
Okay, listen, screw you. I love the Ewoks. That is the dedication of John Campia.
JT, maybe we should tell Justin about that pet Ewok we're getting him for Christmas.
Yeah, forget the Gremlins, Justin. We're getting you an Ewok. Jabba Jabba. No, in all seriousness, though, we're actually like I'm not gonna go too in depth, but the Ewoks are literally killer animals in Star Wars. Killer. They actually will kill you. People forget that, and they're, oh, he reminds me of Gizmo. No, he would literally kill you. Like he, the Ewoks kill. People forget that. Just saying. Anyways, but Star Wars, Return of the Jedi.
And we see the fight between Luke and Darth Vader with the Emperor.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Go save yourself.
Yeah, this is a great ending to a great trilogy. Needless to say.
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba Jabba, Chewbacca. And how can we forget one of the most famous lines in cinematic history, guys? It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's just three words that are just so great.
You know, I think about Family Guy did a Star Wars parody, did it all three of the original, and once they finished the Return of the Jedi, and that's the story of Star Wars. But what about the prequels? The Cleveland Show will do that.
It's funny. Our dear friend Allie just said that exact same thing in the chat board. She said, this is my favorite Star Wars movie and my favorite Family Guy parody.
Shame. Empire Strikes Back is better.
You're entitled to your opinion. Anyways. And Return of the Jedi, I think we kind of nailed the head on the head there,
I
right?
think we did nail that one.
So, I mean, Star Wars is an encompassing film, of course. In general, it's a phenomenal franchise. All right, we got a couple to talk about in 83 that I can, like at least a good handful. Like four. I got four right here. And I'll let you guys chime in a sec with it, right?
All right, let's hear it.
I have not seen this movie, but it's been on my to-see list for a long time with Al Pacino. It's Scarface.
I've seen it.
Talk to me about it. Go.
Okay, I'm about to say something very unpopular.
It's overrated?
Yes.
Really?
Oh boy.
All right, Justin, is the cancel bill hashtag up yet?
Oh, it's been up.
But I'll be honest with you, and I love Al Pacino. He's one of my favorite actors. He is one of my favorite actors, but I don't know. This is going to sound weird. I just kind of found this movie boring. I know that sounds weird. A movie about a guy who just randomly shoots people. I just found it boring.
Chatboard, help us out.
But you know, I will say this. It has some of the best movie lines. Everybody's talking about the bad guy. Well, say goodnight to the bad guy.
Say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, there you go. Even I know that.
And he's in this coke. Well, he's on this coke fueled. When he's on this coke fueled just rampage, and he's nothing shot of the 80s like cocaine. Kids don't do cocaine. It's bad.
Don't do drugs, kid. As someone you're listening to three individuals who are clean as can be, and we have never done drugs in our life, so don't do it.
Well, marijuana, as long as it's in a state where it's legal.
Yes.
And make sure it's for medicinal purposes only.
Yeah. No drugs.
But anyway, No, but this movie, I'll be honest, I think this movie's overrated.
All right.
And I think it's kind of like I said, it has good lines and it has some cool scenes, but it's over 3 hours long. It's just that this movie really need to be 3 hours.
I didn't realize it was 3 hours.
It's pretty long.
What was that, Justin?
It's pretty long.
You've seen it?
Once.
And what did you think of it?
It was okay.
So you're not completely thinking I'm crazy right now. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, Scarface. Yeah. All right, next.
We could breeze through a couple of these, kind of like we did last week. But War Games, kind of a product of its time. But
Never saw it.
oh, great movie, War Games. For those who know, it stars Matthew Broderick, and it's about a kid who who hacks into a computer system in the '80s, and he basically accidentally he's playing a game of quote unquote global thermonuclear war. Little does he know that the computer he's logged into is in NORAD, and he's about to start World War III. Justin, have you seen this?
I saw a good chunk of it.
Okay, they made a sequel, like a Cold War themed one after that, but it's a Cold War movie in the '80s. It's very good, but War Games 2 was not. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything special. Matthew Broderick didn't return. Let's put it that way. But
No
yeah,
Matthew Broderick.
in the first one, yes. In the second one, no. Ali Sheedy's in this. It's kind of a scary concept too, if you think about it. It's a scary, scary concept about it. So, anyways, I digress. We can just touch on that for a sec. Oh, how can we forget this, guys? The start of the Vacation franchise.
How they
There we go.
run.
National Lampoon Vacation.
If I can type it, Lampoon Vacation. I butchered all that. National Lampoon's Vacation. The original, not the Ed Helms one, but this one is very good. The OG Vacation one with Chevy Chase from SNL. This
You know,
movie,
the guy who gets along with everybody.
of course. And how could you? I mean, let's be real, guys. How could we forget? This is like it's funny. I don't know if I ever told you guys this. Before I went on my road trip in 2021, you guys took over for the Super Review Show for a week.
Yeah, we didn't get sued, so that's a good thing.
You did not. And I watched this movie before I left on my 10-day road trip across the country. Which is a terrible idea, but it was a funny movie. I forgot I saw it again for like the first time in a while. Because it's a
Well,
movie
it's not
about
like you were going to Wally World, so.
I was not going to Wally World. I went to Dolly World though. I went to Nashville. I went,
That's
anyways,
surprisingly similar in name.
I know very similar. But no, great movie. If you're looking for a movie that like epitomizes summer vacation, it's in the title,
This
Vacation.
movie.
Check it out. All right, we got a couple more really quick.
Hey, Justin, should we tell JT about that lawsuit that finally got settled when he was away?
It's me on the lawsuit lady.
I thought it was going into arbitration.
We'll talk to the lawyers
Lawsuit,
later.
one lawsuit. There were no lawsuits, weren't there, Justin?
What the hell, guys? Anyways,
Oh, it's in arbitration.
and how could we forget one of Tom Cruise's earliest movies too? That came out in '83, Risky Business.
Dun, 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 dun.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
Bob Seger, don't sue us. But yeah, Tom Cruise in Risky Business, guys. Like the floor scene, the him dancing, but a kid who goes out, her parents are out of town for the weekend, and he throws it. Well, I'm not gonna say exactly what happened, but watch the movie, and you kids, you might get some ideas. Let's put it that way.
Don't get ideas.
Oh God!
Don't do it.
what he
I'm
did.
just kidding.
Don't do what he did.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm
it.
joking. Tom Cruise was listen. No. Just don't do it. It's a funny movie. It's a really funny movie though, needless to say. Really, really, really funny movie for Tom Cruise.
Reminisce about the days of old.
He was so young in this movie too. If you look at some of the pictures of him from this movie, he's really, really young.
He really is.
Oh.
Even though he
I
never
don't
aged.
think this man ages.
I just said the same thing. He does not age. So, but yeah,
Do you think
no,
this
but
man ages,
no.
Justin?
I mean, he ages, but he stopped aging around 40.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, I had to touch on that one. That's pretty. That's all I got for 83, guys. Should we jump over to 84?
Yeah, it's one of the most important years in film.
Yeah.
Which one do we start with?
Yeah, what should we start with?
How about we start? Can we start with the horror movie? Is that okay?
Sure.
Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, the 1984 when it started on Wes Craven's horror masterpiece started in this year 84 with
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger. So A Nightmare on Elm Street.
With
That was a good voiceover. I'm so proud of myself.
a
Um,
very and Johnny Depp gets killed in this one.
he sure does. Not in the Pirates movies, but in this one. Justin, have you seen this?
I haven't.
Bill?
Parts of it.
Parts of it. I've only seen
Yeah,
parts of it
yeah,
too.
parts of it.
Okay. It's like I've only seen parts of it too. I mean, it's a very like twisted, you know, like don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep, otherwise she's gonna come for you and kill you. Like, that's pretty terrifying.
1, 2, threat. Freddy's coming for you.
Exactly.
3, 4. You better lock your door.
Yep. But yeah, no, one of the stone cold classic horror movies of all time. Um, we should talk about the Terminator since we're on the sci-fi route.
Yes.
We did a movie commentary for this,
Yes, we did.
actually.
And that was my first time watching this.
And yeah, and Bill had what did you think of it, Bill?
I liked it.
It's Arnold at peak Arnold, but really, and I just want to say this: it's a horror sci-fi movie, not sci-fi horror. Because if you think about it, this machine,
Yeah.
I think I talked about this on the movie commentary we did. This movie, it's about a machine that is sent back in time to kill you, and you can't stop it. That's pretty damn scary.
And it can't be bargained with. And what was the other things?
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reprogrammed,
Reasoned with.
reasoned with. Exactly. So,
I would like to see him work at some store going, hey, can we kind of haggle this price here? No, all sales are final.
yeah.
But
Uzi
come on,
9mm.
can we do 15? All the sales are
Okay.
final.
And then finally, get out.
I'll be back.
But
But yeah.
yeah. Oh, dude. How could you not like dude?
It was, and also he wasn't really a strong enough actor at the time either. So what they did was they gave him minimal dialogue, and when he spoke really powerful one-liners, and that's how they made it work.
Hasta la vista.
Baby,
I'll be back.
that was T2. But yeah, still great. Justin, have you seen this?
Oh yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. I didn't want to spend too much time on that, but yeah, Terminator 1, one of the best movies of all time. Horror,
And
sci-fi, and
then
sci-fi
from
horror.
one of the greatest horror sci-fis to one of the greatest horror comedies.
Are we going to talk about it?
Oh, we talked about it.
If there's something strange in the neighborhood, who are you gonna call?
Somebody
Ghostbusters!
else.
Do 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 do. Say it with me. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
One of the most iconic franchises of all time. One of the
From
best
the
cars of all time.
insane brain of um Dan Aykroyd,
Something makes
directed
me
by Ivan
feel
Reitman,
good.
um, starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver. This is an amazing movie. Um, some of the greatest laughs. The librarian ghost, still one of the greatest jump scares ever. Um, Infinitely quotable. We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
And what is it? It's so funny. I love it.
Tell him about Twinkie. What, what about the Twinkie?
Fire and burps.
Ray,
Dogs and
when,
cats living together. Mass
Mass
hysteria.
hysteria.
Enough. I get the point.
Ray, when someone asks if you're a god, you say yes.
To this day, that line still gets me. So catchy. Um, we should do a Ghostbusters movie commentary before for the fall.
No, we should.
We should. Absolutely. We'll put it up on the channel. It's only an hour and a half long, so why not?
Yeah.
And the rest in peace, Ivan Reitman too,
Yeah,
the
and
director,
Harold Ramis.
and Harold Ramis. He was a great director too. Let's not forget about that.
Hmm.
But yeah, Ghostbusters, iconic, one of the most iconic movies of all time too.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
So
and let's not forget Ray's special ghost.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
No,
I
not
should
the
stay
same
Puff Marshmallow Man.
Man. I was referring to a different special ghost, but I guess that's his special ghost too.
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Which ghost were you talking about?
Um, the BJ ghost.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Sorry, guys. PG-13 over here. Speaking of PG-13,
Oh, is it?
It's
There
that
were-
time, huh?
it's
It's
Gremlins and Indiana Jones time. Let's go.
Yeah,
yeah.
so which one should we do first, Bill?
Why don't we
Gremlins or
do?
Jake or
Let's
Hamilton?
do Gremlins first because Gremlins and Ghostbusters came out on the same day.
That's right. We talked about that.
First of
Uh-huh.
all, guess what I have to say? Gizmo, so cute.
Such a cutie.
He's so cute. Oh, he's driving his little car. Okay.
What a guy.
So we tried doing a movie commentary, but someone had storage problems on his laptop, not naming names.
That's why we're gonna do it. We're gonna record it over Zoom this time, and actually instead of over photo booth. Sorry, guys.
But
We'll record.
anyway, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, all three of you,
Get on it.
Billy's played by Zach Galligan gets a Christmas gift from his dad, and it's this little guy. It's Gizmo. He's a Magua. But there are three rules. One, don't get him wet. Two, don't put him in the light. And three, the most important rule. No matter how much they beg, no matter how much they cry,
Don't eat them
ever
after.
feed them after midnight. Which is kind of a shame because, Justin, doesn't certain food taste better after midnight?
Well, yes, but also, isn't it always after midnight?
That's a good point. Like, when can you feed them? When can you
Plot-
feed them?
Plot twist.
I think about noon you could start feeding them. What do you think, Justin?
But what about breakfast?
Okay, they eat brunch then.
Oh God.
They eat brunch. Or maybe their day should start later. Okay, here we are. We're arguing the daily habits of fictional creatures. But anyway, this is one of my favorite movies
Of all time.
of all time. One of my favorite movies, top 10.
Probably
And-
one of my favorite monologues.
But I don't. There's no Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And also, this started something. And this says, but you know what? First of all, before we get to that, this movie does kind of have the same template as E.T. Gizmo in the original script was supposed to be evil. Yeah, this little guy was supposed to be evil.
You mean he was gonna turn into a gremlin?
Yeah, and the film was actually supposed to be darker, and the body count was supposed to be more. Like, more people were supposed to die. Like, Corey Feldman's character was supposed to die in the original script.
Oh wow.
And Billy's mom
Uh,
was supposed to die.
oh Jesus.
So, but then they decided to make Gizmo good. Then they
Was it at
decided,
least still a comedy?
what was that?
Was it at least still a comedy?
What, in the first one?
Yeah.
I don't remember. But they lightened it up. They made Gizmo good. So, you know what? It is kind of similar to E.T. The because even in the end, E.T. phone home, Gizmo leaves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Wynn comes and takes him home. So in a way, Gremlins is sort of similar to E.T.
I can see that.
But we can't talk about its ultimate impact without talking about another film.
We all know that impact. We'll get to it in a second. And that other one is Indiana Jones
Indiana
and the
Jones,
Temple
Temple
of
of
Doom.
Doom.
Great movie. Go on.
I don't like it.
You poor thing.
Justin, what do you think?
This movie's amazing.
I gotta watch it again now, don't I?
How many
Give
times
it a
have you
shot.
seen this movie?
Twice, maybe three times.
Okay. So,
Okay, maybe twice. You know what? I'll go watch it again. I'll go watch it again. I just thought it was too Kalima.
You spiritual.
Fine, I'll watch it again, okay? I'll watch it again.
All right. No worries.
Go watch this again. But I don't know. I wasn't really a big fan of it.
oh, I thought it was great. I loved how inappropriate it got.
As in dark.
Yeah. Like, I remember I watched this movie for the first time the day after I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time.
Oh well.
And again, 13. Um, Yikes.
Chill the monkey brains. Okay, maybe I do kind of like this movie. But
And come on, it gave us Kiwi Kwan. He's a treasure.
short round. Okay, maybe I like this movie. Um, but
But this movie is so violent,
Oh
so
yeah.
bloody. And the fact that it even got the PG rating with what was in the movie is hilarious. I think that's what tickles me the most about this movie is just how the hell it could get away with a PG rating. When people point out what PG used to mean in the 80s, they point to this movie. They say they don't make a PG movie like this anymore.
well,
They did it once.
that started with the rise of PG-13.
Or as Steven Spielberg called it, PG with a
A
little
little hot
mustard.
sauce on it.
Oh, hot sauce.
And because, well, here's the thing. First with Gremlins, there were parents who were taking their kids out of the film
Mm,
because it was, you know, and
obscene.
and then there were scenes in Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. I'm sure people were going like, ugh, ugh. So, so it was sort of the middle ground between PG and R.
Hmm.
All right,
All
and
right.
all right, and it, Do we want to go to 85? Because I got one more movie for 84.
I have. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Does it star Mr. Kevin Bacon?
Actually, no, it doesn't.
That's two for Kevin Bacon.
Do 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 do. Do do. Been working so hard. Mm-mm.
I wasn't even thinking this, but okay.
Footloose. Now I gotta cut loose. Footloose. Come on, you guys have seen this movie?
Bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces.
Oh, this movie's good. We all know the plot. Kevin Bacon moves into a town where dancing is banned. And then they just have one big dance. And
Okay, take it easy, Peter Quill.
Oh my god.
the
Guardians of the Galaxy.
soundtrack is absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Along with the title song and let's hear it for the boy. Let's give the boy a hand.
All right.
Let's move on.
Let's go to 85. I mean, the honorable mention names. I'm gonna have to talk about them, but like, Karate Kid, 16 Candles, The Natural, Police Academy, Beverly Hills Cop, and Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock all came out that year too.
Okay.
Just want to give the
Oh, 16 Candles was 84. Damn it.
yeah, we're still on it. Do you want to talk about it really quick or no?
I mean, it's the beginning of the Brat Pack. The first to really introduce us to John Hughes, the director, the one that defined the coming of age comedy of
Yep.
the 80s.
The movie he directed the following year, we'll talk about that in a second too. So we'll
I
get to
mean,
that.
Molly Ringwald, you had Anthony Michael Hall, um,
The one guy who plays Jake Lloyd. No, Jake's my boy.
yeah,
Anyways,
th- those are the only ones I remember from the movie.
it's all good. Um,
Oh, and Long Duck Dog, but
Long Duck Dong.
nobody wants to talk about Long Duck Dog anymore.
Nope. Let's talk
In fact, a
about.
lot of people don't want to talk about this movie anymore because I'll be honest, this movie could not be made today.
Yeah, it couldn't.
We talked about that too. So
This is one of those movies that it's so much a product of its time. The jokes just would be seen as so problematic today, it's not even funny.
yeah, absolutely. So all right, 285.
Yeah, let's go.
We're halfway there, guys. Let's go to the Breakfast Club. The other John Hughes movie of the time.
Don't you forget about
Again, Molly Ringwald. Again, Anthony Michael Hall. Now we have Judd
Maybe
Nelson.
and Emilio
We
Estevez.
have Carlos Estevez. And then Ali Sheely.
Hey, anyone have any questions?
I
Yeah.
have a question. Does Barry Manilow raid your wardrobe?
You'll find out the answer to that question next Saturday. Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Great movie.
Can you describe the rocket star?
Don't you forget about me.
Very underappreciated band there too. Simple Minds.
Such a good movie.
Great movie. It really shows how you can bond with each other over the course of a day in school.
I'd be curious to see another movie like this made today. I don't think again, along the lines of 16 Candles, I don't think you can get away with some of the jokes and comments made
But
in
you could
this movie.
and we've talked about this before. You could probably make this in a more
21st century way.
Contemporary setting.
in a more
Yeah.
contemporary setting. Because think how much things have changed since 1985.
A lot has
Yeah.
changed since 1985.
Like, social media.
Oh God.
Yep.
Social media maybe
You
make
know,
one of
part of it could be the principal takes away their phones in the beginning. That could be what causes them to try and sneak out.
yes. Or, maybe even some of the social issues nowadays. Like maybe make one of the characters LGBTQ.
Mm,
Because back
Totally.
then, that was something that was kept,
Hidden.
yeah.
hush hush under the rug.
Yep.
Hmm.
And now, since we're more open about it, like maybe have one of them come from like a very conservative religious family, and one of them are like gay or bi,
Yeah.
and maybe have them maybe be about that. Like you could do a bunch of things in today's setting with this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I think I know what we also got to talk about for 1985.
Are we talking about the cars again? Because we got Back to the Future too.
Hey, I had a joke leading into that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Anyways, talk about it. Go ahead.
We need 1.21 gigawatts.
What the hell is a
Well,
gigawatt? One of my other favorite movies of all time.
McFly!
once once this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Great Scott.
And this was like I think this was Michael J. Fox's first big film role. Because he was still working on the show Family Ties at this point,
Yeah.
and he did both of it simultaneously.
Oh my God. He was so disoriented from that.
Working on both of them.
Oh yeah. Because he would go from one set to the next and he would get like maybe 3 hours of sleep, if that.
Yeah, he's working on Alex. Uh, hey, Michael. Um, Alan. Who directed Back to the Future again? I know his name. I can't think of it.
Robert Zemeckis.
Thank
Robert
you.
Zemeckis. Thank you. Um, Robert Zemeckis is on the phone. Hey, Michael, can you come into the set in like 10 minutes? We need to reshoot something. I'm kind of in the middle of something right now. Well, we kind of need to do this today. Okay, fine. Sorry, guys. I got to go. Zemeckis just called. Um, don't you? But anyway, him, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown. And of course, I love the Johnny Be Good scene.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
with Chuck Berry. Forget it.
Uh when he like just thrashes everything, he goes, "Yeah, you guys you guys don't know that, but your kids are gonna love it."
Oh yeah, rock and roll, baby, rock and roll.
Johnny, go, go. No, but
Johnny.
this movie is just so
And
much
with
fun.
this movie, plus Gremlins, plus Poltergeist, it really starts establishing Spielberg as sort of the first super producer
Yes.
because he produced all three of those movies. All three of them became classics. And now when you have Amblin in your corner for a movie,
Yep.
you're probably going to have more luck with the studios.
Oh yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
because Spielberg put in the work back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, um, all right, let's go. There's a couple more.
I
Oh,
want to see a DeLorean one of these days.
we'll work on that, but we'll go to a museum and we'll see them there. Um. Oh, how can we forget about that? Oh, I'm looking at my list right now.
Hello, McFly.
Hey, you guys!
Oh, Goonies.
How can we forget this?
Goonies never say die.
The Princes of Power. Kiki Kwan again.
Hmm.
You know that
Yes.
Chunk's a lawyer now?
Was
Chunk,
Yeah, I heard something about that.
the character from the Goonies, Chunk is now a lawyer.
good for him.
Like he's a real life lawyer.
Hey, but good for him. You know what? Hollywood isn't for everyone.
No, he grew up and he became a lawyer.
Hey, he's doing well. I'm sure he's doing very well for himself.
I'm sure, but he's known for doing the truffle shuffle. So put it that way.
So
No, one of the most
these
iconic.
kinds, so these kind of movies were very, very popular back in the 80s.
Coming of
The
age.
sort of preteen kids who swear and went on adventures. And that was kind of the start of it. It was Goonies, it was Stand By Me, it was Monster Squad. Heck, it was even It, which
Yeah.
was written in the 80s.
But Goonies
Um,
never say die.
but yeah, I'm pretty sure that Goonies was the one that sort of originated that whole kids going on these terrifying adventures subgenre.
Yeah. One of the best ones. Oh, and we could you guys want to touch on it at all, but Rocky 4 or no?
I mean, it's Rocky versus communism. What more do you want?
I have one thing to say to you. I must break you.
Yeah, I just want to shed some light on that for just
That
a
is like my favorite Rocky movie.
yeah, it's
Rocky has defeated communism.
Yep.
he stopped the Cold War. If I could change.
Hearts on fire,
Yep.
strongly.
Yeah.
And I love that movie.
Great movie.
Oh, and let's not forget the best part about that movie.
The robot.
Happy birthday, Polly.
Happy birthday,
Yes.
Polly.
The robot was great.
Happy birthday, Polly.
Stallone was jacked during that movie.
Uh, Make a wish. I wish I wasn't in this nightmare.
Oh my God.
That's a very original wish. Is that?
All right. All right. That's 85. 86, anyone?
86.
Let's see.
I have a couple. I have three or four that we can lightning right through if you want.
Guys, highway to the danger
Danger
zone.
zone. Talk to me, Goose.
Dun.
Highway to the danger zone.
This was one of them, guys. This is one of the ones I was gonna bring up.
Top Gun.
My boy.
I can't think of a more 80s movie than Top Gun.
The soundtrack is awesome. Not just Danger Zone, but everything else.
Um, I remember seeing this for the first time. It was a re-release. I went with my buddy Chris, and we saw this in Dolby, in the Dolby Theater. And this is why I insisted on seeing Top Gun Maverick in a Dolby Theater, because you could feel the the theater vibrate when you hear those jets roar. It was an experience.
Amazing.
And I want to bring up that this is one of the first productions of super producers Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer.
Oh, yep. Bruckheimer Productions. Yep.
Simpson Bruckheimer Productions.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Because Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer were producing partners until Don Simpson's death.
Yeah. Iconic.
This film is
It's awesome.
I actually saw it before I saw Top Gun Maverick.
So did I.
So did I.
We all did.
I watched it like the day I saw Top Gun Maverick.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Like I watched it like I had not seen Top Gun, and Justin and I were going to see it, and I told, and I never I watched the first Top Gun. I'm like, oh, this is a pretty cool movie. This
So
movie is
Bill, what what
yeah.
would what would you have done if you didn't like it?
What, Top Gun?
Yeah,
Okay, why are you asking me that question?
because you were seeing Maverick the next day.
No, that night.
Even worse.
If I didn't like it, I would say, okay, I didn't like it. What's the big deal?
Because Top Gun Maverick was going to be more of the same.
Some people say it was even better than the first one.
My dad said that, and he saw Top Gun in theaters.
Hmm.
So, I have two more for 86. You guys want to keep
Yeah,
going?
we gotta
We gotta go, guys.
mosey on.
It's been an hour and a half.
All right.
We got 11
Next.
after. All right. We touched on Alien in 79, but this is the one. This really showed how you can make a horror franchise, a action franchise too, with Aliens
Okay.
from 86. Have you guys ever seen this?
Now,
Okay,
No.
I recommend it. Get on it, guys. Come on.
Mhm.
Get on it, then. Do. Anyways, no, a great follow up to a great movie, but one of the best out there with Sigourney Weaver doing it too, with Ripley. Oh yeah, and how can we forget One Man Struggle to Take It Easy?
oh, Ferris Bueller's Day
Bueller,
Off. I forgot about that.
Bueller,
Bueller,
Bueller.
Bueller.
So yeah, we've covered this movie a lot, but let's just be real. It is one of the best movies of the 80s, hands down.
It is. It's just
Yes.
one of those the most fun, most iconic John Hughes movies. It's essentially a tour guide of Chicago
It
in a movie.
really is.
Um, some of the um greatest lines. This is where Cameron goes berserk.
Screaming in the
Oh,
middle of Chicago. Funny. But yeah, I had to touch on that. And another one that came out was Platoon. That's more of a serious note one. We don't have to talk about that though.
Good movie.
Great movie
it's
though.
a great movie.
Platoon with
Another movie we saw in English class.
Yes, we did.
how about that? 87?
Yes. And you know what? I think Platoon was a good transition because you know what other you know.
Oh, I know, I know, Bill. I talked about this trailer at one point. Do you remember that Full Metal Jacket?
Yep.
Yikes!
So can I hear sir? Yes, sir. Bullshit. Sound off like you got a pair.
You're not
Okay,
a writer.
keep it
You're a killer.
PG-13.
Wait, what was that?
So let's keep it PG-13. There's nothing PG-13 about about anything that Arlie Ermy says in that movie.
Hey, we show respect to the late great Arlie Ermy.
You're not a
Oh, I
writer.
respect
You're a
him.
killer.
That is a great compliment. What I just said.
There you go.
And be like, hey, how tall are you?
5'10", sir.
5'10", sir. 5'10". I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
I know. I belong in Vietnam.
And for those of you who don't know, all of his lines were improvised.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the story. Arlie Ermy was actually first hired as a technical advisor. And
Mhm.
Arlie Ermy was actually a real life drill sergeant.
Yes, he was.
And he was hired to be a technical advisor, and he put together like a little instructional film Kubrick was so impressed that, hey, do you want the part? Do you want the part? I go, sure.
Yeah, because anything that he said was better than what he could write.
Yeah, but this,
Insane.
I like the movie, but I'll be honest, I think the first half of the movie's better. What do you think, Justin?
I mean, yeah, the first half and the second half are two completely different films.
I think the first half's much better. The second half is okay. It's not anything spectacular.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
What about you, JT?
You're not a writer. You're a killer. A killer. Yes, sir. Anyways,
You are, because you want to know something, and I think this is important for me to bring up because he died 12 years ago today. My granddad, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
He was a Marine. He was a Marine Corps,
Mm.
and I would say, the movie Full Metal Jacket. Have you seen? Because I've seen parts of it. He said, because he was a Marine, goes, how accurate was that? Goes, oh, it was very accurate.
Hmm.
Like that's how boot camp is.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, they are. That was, he said that was right on the money.
Wow.
But especially said in the beginning, goes, you are pukes. You are the lowest form of life. You're not even human beings. I think I'll talk about this movie. It's just us sitting here quoting R. Lee Emery for forever.
Yeah.
Well, we do have to move on at some point, so.
But no, the rest of the movie, it really shows like when the guy, I forgot the character's name, when he kills Emery, that scene is just so built up, and you could see
Private Pile.
Yeah, Private Pile, you could see his descent into madness.
Oh, it was clear.
This is my rifle. There are many other rifles like this, but this is mine. What a good movie. Hey, we got to do a commentary on this movie one of these days.
We will one day.
One of these days. All right, moving on.
Sci-fi horror with Arnold, anyone? With Predator? We got to do some. We'll do some rapid fire, but this is a great movie too.
Get to the chopper.
To the chopper.
Get to the chopper. What's got Billy so spooked? So great movie, great. One of the best of the 80s. When you think it's like this is like Fox's extra answer to like, hey, we have Alien going on. What else can we do? Let's have Arnold Schwarzenegger fight another alien that's a different form from another planet. You know what I mean? So yeah, pretty much. That's Predator 87. We should do a Predator movie comedy at one point too. It's a fast movie.
Days.
It's like an hour and a half too. So, oh, Justin, have you seen RoboCop?
I've seen
The first one.
a large portion of it.
I'll keep it brief, but basically it's a violent movie. I mean,
It's Paul Verhoeven. Of course, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be very violent. Needless to say, it was. But RoboCop, it's really super brief. Cop gets killed. Cyborg technology resurrects him, so to speak, and he becomes a cop for law enforcement. He becomes RoboCop. And Yaw Move Creep. I actually got Peter Welling. I think I met him one point.
Yeah, Peter Welling.
Yeah, he's cool. But yeah, Yaw Move Creep. Like it's just.
I buy that for $1.
Oh, great movie. Great quote. A lot of good quotes in this movie too. But I don't want to spend too much time on it because 87's got a lot of stuff in here, guys. How can we forget about Mel Gibson and Danny Glover? I'm told for this
Lethal
shit.
Weapon.
And it involves one of my favorite movie quotes ever. Diplomatic immunity.
That's Lethal Weapon 2.
It's still a good quote.
It's in the same franchise. But no,
Lethal Weapon just been revoked.
Yeah. Diplomatic immunity. It's just been revoked.
I met Danny Glover too. I got his autograph.
Oh, what's he like?
He's kind of quiet guy.
He seems like a pretty quiet, but he seems like a cool guy.
He's a cool guy. Actually, I have to next time you guys come over, I have to show you guys the autograph one day.
And then Mel Gibson, and this was before he went insane.
Yes, this is pre-crazy Mel Gibson. Well, he was pretty crazy in the movie too for jumping off cliffs and stuff, and like buildings and stuff. But yeah,
No,
but that was his character.
Yeah, we're talking about actual batshit crazy Mel Gibson.
True. But yeah, Lethal Weapon is one of those for sure. That is just definitely one of those iconic. Another franchise in the 80s that started in 87 was just iconic. Um,
All right.
I have a couple more that we could talk about. Just we could rapid fire through. Bro, the girls out there, The Princess Bride.
Oh my God.
This is a great
I
movie.
mean, it is a great movie.
One of the best movies of all time.
I've never seen it.
Inconceivable. Wait,
Inconceivable.
what?
You've never seen it? Oh, Bill,
Bill.
I gotta
this
get
is-
on it.
get on it.
Yeah.
Watch it tonight. No, I'm just kidding. But no, in all
Oh my
seriousness,
God, you've never seen
I've seen
Princess
parts of
Bride?
it. Okay, I've seen parts of it.
it's very,
Bill,
very, very good.
you will love it.
It's a classic.
Well, I do
You
know.
will absolutely love it.
I do remember Rob Reiner. I saw an interview with him with Michael Kay on Yes Network, Center Stage, and he told a story about when he was in Carmine's in like the 80s or 90s. He was walking. He was walking. He was walking
Oh,
out, and John Gotti was walking in,
you told me this.
and one of Gotti's guards looked at him and said, "My name is Guillermo Montorio. You have killed my father. Prepare to die." Rob Reiner was like, "What?" Because he's scared because it's like, John
Yeah.
Gotti.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You did The Princess Bride. I love that movie." Knowing that one of the guys in the mob loves
Hey, mafiosos go to the movies too, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Another one from 87. Was that one? Do we want to we can briefly touch on Dirty Dancing.
Okay.
Do you guys want to do that, or should we could skip that one?
What do you think, Justin?
It's your average, it's a
I
rom-com.
haven't seen it, so
All right, next.
I was gonna say Spaceballs, but you guys seen Spaceballs?
I thought, oh my God, Spaceballs is the best.
You guys, I mean, it's Mel Brooks. It's kind of like when we talked about the 70s, it was like Mel Brooks. In the 80s, though, he made Spaceballs.
Merchandising.
So this is probably Mel Brooks's funniest movie, or at least his most quotable movie. You find anything yet? We ain't find shit.
Home the Desert.
Sir, what? You think we're being too literal? Anyway, you say come to the desert, but that's what we're doing.
Comb the Desert.
And of course, my favorite. What's his name?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that, but what's his name?
Asshole. Major asshole.
And his cousin?
Oh, that's his cousin Gunner, second class, Phil asshole.
How many assholes do I have on this ship?
Yo.
Yo!
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes. Keep firing, assholes!
So funny.
And
We passed them.
one thing you have to know.
What?
I am your father's brother's uncle's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What did that make us?
Absolutely nothing. What you're about to be. Prepare to die.
So great.
You have the ring, and I see that your sports is as big as mine.
So many quotes.
May the Schwartz be with you. Merchandising. That's where the real money is. Spaceballs, the Kelleran book. Spaceballs.
What am I looking at? What is this happening in the movie? Now, sir, you're looking at now. Everything that's happening now is happening now. Well, what happened to then? The past then? When? Just now.
I love this movie. It's so funny.
88? Question mark?
Yeah, 88.
Die Hard.
The best Christmas movie ever.
Yeah, it is the best Christmas movie.
Too funny.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and anyone who disagrees can suck it.
Ooh, shots fired from Justin there. Sorry, we love our listeners and our viewers, but yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Yeah.
Hans, Booby, I'm your white knight.
No, this movie is great.
I haven't seen it.
Now, fun fact about this movie, the makers of this movie were contractually obligated to ask a different actor than Bruce Willis to play John McClane. Do you know who that actor was?
Who?
Frank Sinatra.
Really? That would have been interesting.
So Frank Sinatra played the original John McClane. I think his he was renamed for Die Hard, but he played the original John McClane in a movie called The Detective back in 1960.
Huh, interesting.
So, considering that Die Hard is the next book in the series, they had to ask him. Fortunately, he said no.
All right.
Welcome to the party, pal. Okay, okay, so anything else on Die Hard, or should we?
I got a couple more for 88 if that's okay.
All right, let's hear it.
Just two more. Yeah, two more. Well, you guys did a review for Beetlejuice.
Ooh, yeah, we got to talk about Beetlejuice.
The original one that
Nice fucking model.
Dale!
Vicente, yo.
Daylight come and we want to go home. And yeah, well, there was a Tim Burton movie we missed early in the 80s, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but I think this was the real first Tim Burton movie, if that makes sense, Justin.
Yeah, I think with Pee Wee's Big Adventure, he was still trying to find himself, and this is where he expresses himself all over the screen.
Did you like it? Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Well, what are your qualifications? Oh, yeah, so qualifications. Well, I was Harvard. I've seen The Exorcist 186 times. It gets funnier every single time I see it.
I went to Juilliard. I went to Harvard Business School. I worked very long hours. I traveled extensively. And of course, the best line, it's showtime.
so good. Just a madhouse of a movie too.
Oh my God, it is so great of a movie. And the first collaboration between Michael Keaton and Tim Burton. We'll get to the other one in a second. You know.
Wrap up the decade in a second.
But
yeah.
Two other movies I think about with 88. Well, actually three. We'll rapid fire them. I've talked about this movie before, and I know it has its issues. Rain Man. Tom.
No, the stage is yours on this one.
Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. Listen, I'm not going to get too much into it. We talked about this in our Autism Month video. We talked about this in our movies that didn't age well video.
Correct.
I think I've said my piece about this movie. It's good. It could be a bit problematic, but because of its stereotypes of autism, but it's good. All right. Other ones I have in mind. 88 was Field of Dreams.
I had a feeling you were going to bring that one up.
Why did you think that, Justin?
Would you believe me if I said James Earl Jones?
No, I wouldn't.
Good, you'd be right.
And JT watched this movie with me for the first time ever, didn't you?
I did.
And JT, why don't you share your thoughts?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And come on. Any man who says they don't cry at the end of this movie is lying to you.
It's a beautiful ending.
Hey, Dad, do you want to play catch? If you could watch that, every man who tells you they don't cry at the end of Field of Dreams is lying to you.
Correct.
That is such an emotional movie. Remember, you build it,
They will come.
they will come. Okay. And to wrap up 88. Remember me, Eddie? When I killed your brother, I thought yes.
Ah, yes. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who did
I
frame
saw it
Roger?
again just a couple of weeks ago.
Isn't it
I'll
great?
hold up. It's so great.
Dear Jessica, I cannot tell you.
Oh, how I love you. Let me count the ways. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000.
For 1,000. Okay, JT, have you ever seen this movie?
Long time ago.
And did you
It's on
know, like,
Disney Plus.
this movie was supposed to be, like, they were actually supposed to make a sequel to this movie? Well, it was going to be a prequel. It was about Roger Rabbit returning home from World War
Hmm.
II, and they were going to satirize Nazis, but Steven
But
Spielberg didn't feel comfortable making it. He didn't want to satirize
because
Nazis
of
after
yeah.
Schindler's List. And but in the script, you know who Roger Rabbit's father is?
Who?
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny.
Yep. Because for those who haven't seen this movie, they have the Disney characters, they have the Warner Brothers characters. Like that
Okay,
scene.
but legally, how would they have gotten away with that?
Are you asking me or
I mean, think about it. The only way they could have Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse in the first one was if they both have the same amount of screen time. You're going to have to incorporate Mickey into that somehow.
and they also have what Donald and Daffy doing the piano duel together. That's hilarious. And can we agree that Doctor Doom, Judge Doom, is like one of the most underrated Disney villains? Even before we find out what he is, just his presence is absolutely intimidating.
I mean, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen the movie, Roger Rabbit gets framed for the murder of
Marvin Acme.
for Marvin Acme by Judge Doom. Oh, spoiler. Whoops. Oh, come on. Like, who hasn't seen this movie? But no, and just seeing the characters with the cartoons, and you know what? The adult characters actually act like adults. They don't act like the toons. And this is just such a great movie. And you know what? I think
Yeah.
this is a transition into something else. Since it's Disney, I'm anything for 88, or we want to go to 89 and end this once and for all? JT, you're on mute.
One more for 88. Sorry about that. I was taking care of
I
something.
can't think of anything else for 88. Can you? Oh, Naked Gun.
We had to bring it up. Good old Canadian
Ah,
Nielsen. Have you guys seen this?
yes.
No.
Oh, Bill. I did a why you should watch video for this franchise too. This movie's
Bill,
hysterical.
I think you'd like it.
Okay.
It's in a similar vein of like Spaceballs and Airplane,
More airplane than Spaceballs.
but it's so funny. So funny. It's like a parody of like cop films. It's
Yeah.
it's it's based on a TV show of the same name, the Police Squad show. So so funny. Bill, the next time you come over, we're gonna watch it.
Okay.
Sound good?
It's the same creative team as Airplane and Hot Shots.
High Search Purdue, another one in the '90s. But yeah, this is so So good. And Liam, they're bringing it back to Liam Neeson starring in a new one.
Yeah, I saw that. Seth
That,
MacFarlane's producing.
that's great. I hope they got a good team for it. So that's just me. But yeah, anyways. I had to shed some light on that really quick. Anyways, all right, Naked Gun, 89. Here we go.
All right, since we don't just talk about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I think this is appropriate to talk about an animated film, Little Mermaid.
That was 89, correct?
The
Yes,
start of the Disney Renaissance.
absolutely. Because okay, for those of you who don't know, after Walt Disney died, the studios were struggling
Mhm.
and that's an understatement, throughout the 70s and especially the 80s. It got so bad that their 1980, I don't know, was Black Cauldron 87 or 88?
Can't remember.
I don't remember offhand.
It
One of the
got
two.
so bad, their movie, The Black Cauldron, which is considered the worst Disney movie, at the box office, it lost to the Care Bears movie.
That's not
Yeah.
good.
So it got to the point where Disney had sunk to a new low. And then came came this film. This was the movie that put Disney back on track. This was the movie that started a period known as the Disney Renaissance, which we'll talk about more next week. But this film was, whether you like it or hate it, this film did good for Disney's business. They brought Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. Justin knows how much I love Alan Menken. Here's your damn money.
Thank you.
God, we really got to stop paying him. Justin, can we renegotiate that contract we have with him? Um. Anyway, but the music is fantastic. This really put Disney back on the map. It really, because Disney was losing to Don Bluth, because Oliver and Company came out the same day as Land Before Time. American Tail came out the same day as The Great Mouse Detective. And this day it came out against All Dogs Go to Heaven, and this movie blew it out of the water. And the songs, Part of Your World, Poor Unfortunate Souls, Under the Sea, Kiss the Girl, like, oh my God. Like this, regardless how you feel about Ariel, this movie really made Disney respectable again. It was the first Disney fairy tale since Sleeping Beauty 30 years earlier. And showing how they can incorporate the music into the film, into the story, was absolutely great. Okay, it's 89. Do we have that other movie on our minds, or do we want to, or do you got anything else before we get to that other movie?
I have two more that I can talk about really quick, or three more actually. But
All right, let's hear it.
rapid fire. Say Anything rom-com from 1989 with John Cusack. The icon, because mainly because of the boombox scene. Let's be,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's iconic on its own. And John Cusack on Iron Sky. Say Anything. Need I say more? I had to touch on that really quick. And also, one of my favorite rom-coms of all time came out that year too. Was When Harry Met Sally.
I'll have what she's having.
This is a
Mm.
great movie to go see. If you've never seen When Harry Met Sally, stop listening to us, stop watching us, and just go watch this movie. It it is a great movie to go see and a perfect date night movie too for your date, you and your guy or your girl. So I highly recommend it for me personally. But yeah, so When Harry Met Sally is up there for sure. And in the late 80s, there was a couple of baseball movies. I know we talked about Field of Dreams, but there's another one that came out then called Major League.
Oh, wait, that was
Oh
90s. That was
God.
90s, I think.
Let's see.
Major League. I think the first one was 88. I thought it was 88 actually.
I
Hold on,
could
let
have.
me look. Let me look.
I'm checking really quick. It was it was 1989. It was. No, that's
Yeah.
No, it is. Yeah.
Wild Thing.
Major League was 1989, the very first. This is a great movie.
You make my heart sing. Starring a
It's a
very young and not insane Charlie Sheen.
yes, and Wesley Snipes and Tom Berenger, a couple other key actors as well. Great movie. Had to touch on it really quick, just to shed some light on that really quick.
I think I know what our big finale is going to be. Guys,
You
are
already
you
know.
ready to have a giant nerdgasm?
What a way to close out the decade.
This
All I can
decade needs anima. Choo, choo.
But anyway, Batman 89. This was the film that, you know what? Because I love this interpretation of Batman. Because before that, the interpretation was pow, bam, womp. It wasn't.
Womp.
It wasn't this. Like Tim, when they asked Tim Burton to make the film, am I right, Justin? They were like, he's like, I'm not really into comic books, so don't think of it as a Batman movie. Oh wait, was that Batman Returns?
That was Batman Returns.
But but he said he really liked the Killing Joke,
Mm-hmm.
and this was loosely based on the Killing Joke. Like,
Very, very loosely.
yeah, of course, Michael Keaton as Batman, who is, oh, I love Michael. Guys, thoughts on Michael Keaton?
Need to be saying more.
He's my Batman.
And this is why he's better than Christian Bale. Christian Bale tries to be intimidating. Michael Keaton, guess what?
He is intimidating.
Yeah, he's got that look that, you don't scare me. Your ass is grass. And he's just so. How can you not like Michael Keaton? And of course, it even got top billing over Keaton.
Jack. Listen,
Jack,
maybe
baby.
we can cut a deal.
Jack. No. Jack is dead, my friend. As you can see, he goes, from now on, call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier. Do 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 do. Hey, Justin, gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence.
Doom, doom.
Doom, doom, doom.
Oh yeah, musical accompaniment by Prince.
Rest in peace, Prince. We miss you. Party man.
Arguably one of the coolest Batmobiles too.
Yes.
Yeah,
The design of it's incredible.
and let's be honest, we all were kind of wanted to see what was going to happen with Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent.
Yeah, but unfortunately, nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, but this movie was fantastic.
For a while, this was my Batman movie.
Yeah.
And then you found
Still is.
Batman Returns.
No, not that. Like it's like my favorite Batman movie, and then other ones have come into play. This is still one of my favorites, though.
Hey, remember, tell me something. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
What?
Something I say to my prey. I like the way it sounds.
And Danny Elfman's score too.
Oh, I love that ending scene when they read the note saying, as long as the evil forces of Gotham are here, call me. How are we going to call him? We will summon him with this. And then the score just swells up and you just have like the biggest nerdgasm you've ever had in your life. Like the music, do, 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 do. And you want to know something? The score is what sold the movie to the executives. Like when Tim Burton and Danny Elfman were pitching this to like one of the heads of Warner Brothers, he just seemed unimpressed.
Mm.
But then when he heard the score,
Danny, play the march. Do, do. And the guy's doing this. Do, 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 do.
And even in like the Lego video games, it was still the same score from this movie. So
Mhm.
that shows you how iconic it is.
One of my favorite scores. It is
Up there for sure.
wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is such a great movie.
What a way to close out the decade, guys.
Yeah. All right. So anything else, or is that it for the 80s?
We've been going for 2 hours. I think the 80s are pretty much taken care of.
Okay. So
In the
come back
wise
next
words,
week when we
Yes.
talk about
the 90s.
when we talk about the 90s.
In the wise words of Imagine Dragons, Bill.
There's nothing left to say now.
Absolutely. We want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into our podcast, as always, to enjoy our shows. Again, we're counting down until number 200, guys. Mixed Bag 200 is coming soon. Fast and Furious. Some point soon for that, too. But no, it's coming in hot. In mid-October, we're going to be doing our 200th episode of Mixed Bag. So, and the roast of me before that as well.
We're getting ready for that one, aren't we, Justin?
I'm sure you are ready. No, but we're still working on what we're going to do for our 200th episode. Just stay tuned for that as well. Keep it locked on the Super Review Show for all your updates as well. Bill, you have a
Sports Insanity podcast on the Sports Insanity Network. And don't forget to check out Thursday Night Gridiron tomorrow night, either at 7 or 7:30. I'm going to be with my good friend Mike Rifton. And, of course, friend of the Super Review Show, John Haraska is going to be on. So check that out. It's going to be a blast.
Oh, yeah. We're
As
ready
we preview the Jets-Patriots game tomorrow night.
They're ready. They do a great job over there. If you have not checked out the Sports Insanity Network, please do it whenever you get a chance. And Justin's just sitting back. He looks like he's about to fall asleep. I am about to as well. So that's the point, though. But thank you for watching. Let's have you enjoy tonight. So for all of us here at the Super Show, thanks so much for watching and listening to our 80s movies through the decades. But for all of us here at the Super Show, stay safe,
Take care.
and
Be awesome.
Be awesome.